My mother worked in a daycare that had taken over the wing of an old school, and the building is notoriously haunted with the ghost of the school's namesake and founder, Colonel Walker. The attic of the building was used as storage for the daycare, and many people reported small, fairly unobtrusive events while being up there. Things like boxes shifting around behind you, drawers opening on the other side of the room when you were in there, curtains suddenly moving, the feeling generally of someone else being in the attic with you. But the kids were the most in tune, it seems. I know that lots of the kids talked about the old man at the daycare, which was staffed entirely by women, and I have definitely seen the kids by all at once looking to the door as if someone entered the room when no one actually had. Personally, I always felt as if someone was walking directly behind me whenever I had to go from one end of the hallway to another, and sometimes I would hang out in the kitchen waiting for my mum to finish up work for the day when I finished my homework or something along that line. I often felt like someone was there with me. I spent a lot of time there, especially in the summer when school was out, helping around the daycare. The most famous piece of evidence of Colonel Walker's ghost was a picture taken at Halloween of all of the kids in their costumes. Right in the back, standing behind the children and looking straight at the camera, is the watery and somewhat blurred face and upper body of an older man. You don't even have to squint or tilt your head to make out that it is there. Now, I know that it could have been some bleed from some other photos or something, but I think, given all the other evidence, it seems they got the Colonel on camera. When I was a kid, my best friend and I were looking at old photos in his house. There was one of a family wedding, a group shot outside our local church. One of the men in the photo had no legs. Not was in a wheelchair or anything like that, but literally, in the photo, his legs just stopped at the knee, and you could see the huge old slabs of the church. They even matched perfectly with the slabs that were on either side. It was exactly the same as if you were looking at a photo and looked at the wall above his head rather than below his knees. Now, I can't blame digital trickery, as this photo was way too old for that. 70s maybe? Maybe someone with a working knowledge of photography could explain it. The weird thing is that the guy in the photo, my friend's uncle, ended up with diabetes and had both legs amputated at the knee later. My great-grandmother was very close to my mum and was apparently an incredible woman. She died before I was born, but my mum tells us a lot of stories about her. From the time my little sister was born, she's had a very strong resemblance to old pictures of my great-grandma and her whole side of the family. Once, when my sister was just a baby, just beginning to learn to speak, my mum was holding my sister on her lap, talking and playing with her. My sister reached up and took my mother's face in her hands, like my great-grandmother used to do to my mum when she was alive, looked her in the eye, and very clearly said, "You always were such a beautiful baby." My mother was shocked, but my sister, who was not yet speaking in full sentences, had gone back to making her typical baby sounds. My mum told this story at dinner when my sister was just about 6 or 7. This was the first time my sister ever heard the story, and she was a little freaked out. As soon as my mum finished telling the story, though, my sister's eye twitched as if she were winking.